Hello everybody. Welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having an absolutely fantastic day. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. As you might have imagined, there's always a lot to talk about. I was lightly considering putting this in the category called stupid news, but I mean, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Due to a price glitch, Bitcoin recently skyrocketed by around 900% on a cryptocurrency exchange because of margin trading. It rose from, on the website, $42,000 to $420,000 on the Binance futures and perpetual market in what appears to be, what? It says what appears to be a glitch. Of course it's a glitch. We all know what Bitcoin's price is. It is not at 420. That's why I said stupid news, because a lot of times you'll read through the news and you go, this is quite stupid. But then it ends up being quite popular and you go, oh, well, that's the most popular news story of the day. A blockchain reporter known as Colin Wu first highlighted the development on Twitter. According to the disclosure, the issue affected the Binance to USDT perpetual pair, resulting in a series of illegitimate price surges on multiple occasions. Data from the Binance market chart confirms the disclosure, indicating that Bitcoin indeed appreciated to $428,391. The figure represents a massive 907% increase from Bitcoin's actual value at the time of the incident of $42,500. There's a little chart right there, and the price goes whee all the way up. The issue is, besides getting news that Bitcoin has reached a new all-time high, Bitcoin is skyrocketing, Bitcoin hit $400,000, is that it didn't happen, and it was because of a glitch. We've had news like this before. It is not as common as it used to be. Coinbase used to be the main, dare I say, culprit in a lot of this before, where they had a lot of fluctuating values on their market. I'm not exactly sure why. We, the public, never received any actual news as to what the incident or mishap or problem or glitch was. It was simply something happened and then it was fixed, air quotes. The issue many moons ago was that a lot of people were here we go. So before even perpetual markets or futures markets and all these other things, on Coinbase's platform, for those of you who've been here for a number of years, you remember this because you sit there and go, I wish that was me. But then you realize it would have never been you because you would have never done something like that. There were a lot of people on Coinbase out there. This is like 3.5 years ago on Coinbase who would put in, let's say Bitcoin's at $18,000. These people would put in a buy order for Bitcoin at like $300. That is to say, if Bitcoin fell down to $300, it would then sell, the buy order would then activate and they would essentially get their Bitcoin for $300. There's two problems here. Is that on one side, the person who had the buy order for $300, it would fill. So if they say, I want to buy 100 Bitcoin at $300 each, they would get those 100 Bitcoin for $300 each. On the other side of it, Coinbase would sit there and go, well, the price is supposed to be 18,000 and you only paid 300 per coin. So they tried, I believe, once or twice to get those coins back from those people. And the people were like, I had a buy order at 300. It hit 300. Therefore, the coins are mine. So this is why we don't normally hear about this anymore. There were a couple of times as well, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, a similar time frame, where the price would skyrocket on a website, of course, a glitch. But if someone believed that Bitcoin was going to $200,000 or $300,000, And essentially on their website, it hit that amount, and that's what their sell order was. They would then receive the $300,000. But then the websites would go, oh, and it's like, no, you got to make sure your systems are fixed, because if everyone's using it over and over and you keep having these, people are going to get pretty upset. So yes, Bitcoin officially on Binance's perpetual futures did skyrocket to $428,000. Maybe it's like a futuristic glitch, and one day in the future we'll go, oh my gosh, remember when Binance did that and it hit there, and they were like, oh my gosh, it actually went to that number. None of that's probably going to happen as far as like us talking about that situation again, because we're going to forget this number in like a couple of seconds. But yeah, cool. Bitcoin skyrocketed by 907%, because that's just what happens on a lot of these different websites, because they're usually all right. Yeah. Awesome. Whoa, what a price increase. I can't believe those numbers. And yeah, let's move on. Also in popular news, everyone is abuzz right now about everything price. Oh, I'm certain I forgot to mention it like the last 19 times. Happy New Year. Totally forgot. I was thinking about it like when I was done with other videos, and I was like, I don't think I said Happy New Year. Hello. Welcome to the new year. Welcome to 2024. We made it. We've been talking about this for two years and some change as far as what this year is supposed to bring, where people are expecting prices to go. You've seen it everywhere. I know it's not just this channel. Everyone is quite riled up about this year in particular. We haven't even gotten to, of course, time. We haven't even gotten to 2025. That's meant to also be another price doozy. But as of right now, we've kind of entered into the realm of what ifs. And this is why this is also very popular. Willy Woo, WOO, who we've been hearing about for a number of years. He is a very, very popular cryptocurrency analyst within the space. Recently shared his predictions for Bitcoin's potential price levels across various scenarios. According to the analyst, these predictions were made in response to a question from a private banker looking for a potential price scenario as to when they should be buying. Of course, these numbers are based off of calculations from the end of 2023, as this year just started. You don't have much data left. Willy Woo has stated, if Bitcoin reaches the market value of gold, which is what a lot of people are expecting to happen, therefore Bitcoin would become the new gold, digital gold. He says the Bitcoin price, according to his analysis, would be $710,000 US. That is a very different number than actually what we've seen from a number of other analysts. You should all know the number. It starts with a 2. 250,000. Yeah, that's a number we got a lot of times from analysts over the years, that if Bitcoin hits $250,000, it'll be strong enough to take over gold. But Willy Woo says if it takes over the value of gold, it would reach 710,000. Here's another one that's also going to become a very popular thing and I think this will become the new narrative for Bitcoin going forward. He said if 5% of all assets on the planet were invested into Bitcoin, the price of Bitcoin would be $1.1 million. The idea is that, you might remember, a number of years ago, we had a lot of people or analysts or banks or whatever who were consistently telling us that they were talking to other high net worth individuals and or institutions or corporations who were looking to get into Bitcoin. And they would recommend quite often that these people or institutions or banks, what have you, that they only put half of 1%, that is to say 0.5% of any money that they wanted to allocate into Bitcoin. The idea of a 5, sometimes 10, usually a 5% allocation tends to be the idea of diversification. Don't have all your eggs in one basket. If you have X amount of money to be able to invest, You would essentially invest in 20 different things, 5% each, and they would all equal then 100%. You would do this to have like an equal-ish spread across different markets to make sure that if one thing collapses, they all don't collapse. I feel like I need to talk about this right now. The last couple of days have been really weird. You know, new year, trying to relax a little bit and stuff like that. I was clicking around on YouTube. My goodness, the algorithm. And this video popped up. I'm certain you can find the videos as well. They're all over YouTube now. It's called The Lotto Changed My Life, or Lottery Changed My Life, or something along those lines. It's some TLC TV show. There we go. A lot of shs in that sentence. And I don't think flabbergasted is the word. It's like maglabbermasted. Like it's not a word, but like this will make sense. The amount of people on this show who won $18 million, $27 million. There was my word. This guy won 112 million US dollars. Can you guess how many of them still have money? Yeah, like it was like two people. They did like a where are they now kind of episode kind of, and it was just the most depressing thing, especially when you Google around to see where these people spent their money. There was one guy in particular who sticks out, and there's two people actually. One guy who sticks out in my head. He decided to try and make a media company, a music label, and try to do like a wrestling. He thought he could make his own wrestling company. And I think all 45 million that he got after taxes was gone in 3 years. The woman, now this was the crazy part, because I think she had, I want to say around 25, 26, 27 million after taxes. For those of you who are not from the States, the way that, because I know it's very different in many different countries, but let's say if you're in the States, what happens is if you win $100 million, me, when I was younger, you would assume you get the full 100 million. Yay, we're happy. What happens is that they ask you, do you want it over the course of the rest of your life in like smaller payments? Or do you want the entire thing in one big chunk? If you choose the one big chunk, well, your number goes from 100 million to around, let's say around a good 65, maybe 70 million that you have left. And then the problem is you still have to pay taxes on that. So you probably usually walk away with about a good $43 million from your initial 100. And it's part of the reason. Yeah. And anyway, so this woman, I couldn't believe it. I sat there. It was almost like a dream. Maybe it's something about like new money and stuff like that. And this is why a lot of times I've stressed on this channel and my other channel, like really just learn how to deal with money. Because one of the biggest problems that I had and I faced when making this channel was a lot of people didn't like my channel because I wasn't hypey enough. I wasn't telling them to throw all of their money into a garbage coin to make enough quick, fast, instantaneous money to be able to buy a Lamborghini. Because the idea of you making 300, 400, 500K from this market and then spending it on a car is nonsense. Even better, here's something that I always thought about. And I mean, this really stuck in my head the last decade or so. When I was a kid, I knew a lot of people who liked cars. I mean, like really, really, really liked cars. Every time a car went by, they knew the name, the make, the model, what the tires were, the so-and-so, the interior. They knew exactly how much extra you had to pay to get what inside of what. It was always the same. This was around maybe late 90s, somewhere around there, 97, 98, 99, somewhere around there. I remember people always talking about cars. And I remember years later, they were still talking about cars, obviously. And I would point out to them the cars that they wanted before. And it no longer made sense to them. That car is ugly now. There's a brand newer model. So I'm certain a lot of people, a lot of the Lambo boys who got Lamborghinis back in 2017 when everyone was telling them, Lambo to the moon and all this other stuff. They bought these cars, and now in 2024, these cars are old. They don't look as nice as they did before because there's a newer model. So the thing that you bought a couple years later is completely pointless because you don't even want it anymore. And this is kind of the same exact idea. So this woman with her money, it's not funny, but like you sit there and you hope that it never becomes you. This woman bought, I think, $500,000 worth of cars for herself and friends and family. She fell in love with her personal trainer or something like that. They ended up getting married, and I was like, red flag. And then at some point, she's like, she said they deserve wedding gifts. I don't know what normal wedding gifts are. I've something old, something blue, a piece of silver Pikachu or something like that. I don't know, whatever people are buying these days. She decided to buy herself, was it a Maserati or Rolls Royce? It was something like that. But you can tell in the actual video that's showing her like buying it, like the car looks old now. These are like older episodes that are kind of just replaying on YouTube. And I was like, okay, she spent $500,000 on that. Sure, why not? And her fiance, I believe he wanted a Porsche. And it was, I think, what was it, $2.1 million? And he was like, oh, I've always wanted this car. And I was like, you're making sure that any type of generational wealth you could be building, like you are actively throwing that money onto the street and just lighting a match, like making sure that like you can all watch it completely go down the drain. And then she had the nerve, after all of that, to try and buy a private jet for like $5 million. I Googled this woman, of course, because, where is she now? I think it took her 6 years, I think 6 or 7 years to spend it all of it gone, all of her winnings, everything completely gone. And then after all of that, she tried to write a book to tell other people like how to win the lotto. And I was like, the amount of devastation I would feel is probably unfathomable. I cannot imagine. Can you imagine winning $5 million and then it's gone forever? Nonetheless, $112 million. And then you have none of it a couple of years later. This is why, first of all, you have to learn how to invest. You have to. Like, it's not a question of if you want to, is if you want to be happy in the next couple of years, you need to learn how to do this. I always tell people, I give them either the 5 or the 10. Think 10 years backwards. Where were you? And then think of where you currently are right now. Think of your current life situation in this moment. In the next 10 years, do you want to be in the exact same spot? Or do you want to be richer? Do you want to have more security? Do you want to have more property? Do you want to have more assets? 10 years seems like a long way. It's not. It was literally just 2020, like an hour and a half ago. I was just chatting with a friend. We were like, it was just here. Like it was, I remember being like, oh my gosh, it's 2020. How futuristic that sounds. It's 2024 now. So the idea, dragging it all back. See, I had a point, the point of the 5% allocation is that exact situation, is that you make sure that you put your money in a whole bunch of different places. And the money that you make from these assets, that's what you use to go live your life. It's incredibly, incredibly simple, but a lot of people who win this money, and it bothered me as well. A lot of people on this show were talking about that they were gonna, I'm gonna be different with my money. I'm gonna go to a financial investor, and I'm gonna get a lawyer, and everyone's gonna help me. And then they're broke. Can you imagine making $3 million from the cryptocurrency market, and you spend $500,000 on a car that in 4 years, 1, 2, 3, 4, that you will think is ugly and you no longer want anymore, that you're going to try and trade in, and then get disappointed when it's not worth the same amount that you paid when it was on the lot? It's crazy. Please, for any of you out there, please, my hands are together in like prayer mode, like literally, like you can't see it. If you get any money from this market, the first thing you do, if you are confused, is find a tax lawyer. Google it. That is the very first thing you do. Get in contact with them now. Like, hey, I may have some issues in the future, yada, yada, yada. I need your help with this. The second thing you do is invest it. And for the love of goodness, don't start a wrestling company. Don't start a music label. Don't buy a Porsche. Please buy property or please buy land that will automatically start making you money because someone's renting it and or farming on top of it. Like, get something that has an immediate cash flow. I'm not against people, going out and splurging and stuff like that. Oh my gosh, one of these people, I sat there confused at the numbers. It was another couple. It was a woman and her I almost said woman and her man. It was a woman and her husband and their 2 kids. And she was like, yeah, we took 4 trips. She said, we went to Paris. We went to Milan, I think London, and some other place that was like right next door. And she said they paid $65,000. And I was like, do you know how traveling works? Like, do you know what the internet is? You can get round trip flights. Please invest your money properly. Like, buy something that is going to appreciate. Buy property. Like, just learn. Do your own research. It's very, very important. Because I know mathematically, 1% of people listening right now are saying, "Yep, I'm gonna do it right," and then you're not, because you're not going to pay attention to the money that you have, and you're going to think that there's more that's going to flow your way. Just please invest in something properly. Back to what Willy Woo was talking about. He said if you invested, if 5% of all assets on the planet were into Bitcoin, we would have a price of around 1.1 million. This is expected to happen over the course of the next decade. This is why we've constantly heard the 2032 narrative as well over and over and over. As we see more money constantly, like even just normally pushed into this market based off of current trends and also the supply and demand and the additional halvings and stuff like that, I personally believe we will hit a $1.1 million Bitcoin. But the, the idea behind a $1 million Bitcoin is not only significant because it's a million, but it means like the world that we once knew is officially collapsing, and everyone has kind of decided that a 5% allocation at least needs to go into just Bitcoin. The problem is that if Bitcoin rises even further to, the problem, air quotes, rises to 1.3 million, people then go, I need more. I have to buy more. I have to put more money into this asset. And then the price continues to rise, and then we eventually get to 10, 15, 20, 35%. And that's the idea. That's the full idea of hyper-Bitcoinization. Being able to see that Bitcoin prices rises comparative to other asset classes, which continue to fall. And therefore, in a deflationary manner, Bitcoin gets stronger, other assets go lower, and people choose to mainly or nearly only invest in Bitcoin as their like security comparative to everything else. He said in the scenario where half of all wealth was into Bitcoin, he said the price cap would be over around $11 million per coin. And I think it's actually supposed to be even higher than that. I think 11 million for that scenario is very low, because a lot of people also have differing ideas as to the amount of money that would flow into Bitcoin. As far as the M1, M2, and M3 money supply, the M3 being for a lot of people like the idea of debt in the world and people shifting their debt over into Bitcoin, i.e., let's say you owe or someone owes $15,000 like in US dollars, and the bank decides, no, we need to shift over into Bitcoin. It then becomes $15,000 worth of Bitcoin in Satoshis. And therefore, if the world's debt moves into that, then Bitcoin also continues to get larger and larger and larger and larger as well, which is, it looks like where we're going. But of course, we all need to see at least a glimmer of that happening before we actually have a lot of this taking place. Willy Woo believes that the scenario of 5% of all wealth being transferred into Bitcoin is not far-fetched. I don't think so at all. I think this is exactly where we're heading. And then I think this is why we keep hearing that all these people are buying a staggering amount of Bitcoin. Like, this is, I don't think any of this is random or happening, uncoordinatedly. I think they're all rich people working together, talking about it, where they're going to put their money. And I think they've kind of just decided that this is going to be one of the main places where they put it. The issue is that if prices rise after they already have, and everyone else, normal people, are trying to get as much as they possibly can, these rich people are only going to be buying 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 more at the exact same time. I think we're going to get far above 5% of the wealth in the world. And at that point, once again, we've already gone over. Once Bitcoin hits $250,000, Bitcoin has won. If we get to $1 million, Bitcoin is it. Like, Bitcoin is the thing that people are going to choose to mainly only be investing in. He pointed out that the idea of 5% is not far-fetched because he said that there are over, I didn't know this number. He said there are over 600 million adults on the planet with a net worth over $100,000. Did not know that. And these individuals own 85% of all the wealth on the planet. Also did not know that. That's also, those numbers are a little bit askewed completely in one direction. 85% of all the wealth for people who have a net worth over 100K is around 600 million people on the planet. Yeah, the point is the expectations for this market are quite elevated, quite high. They're in the sky. You can barely even see them anymore. We're getting a lot of price predictions, of course, once again. The big shebang, I think, will be by the end of January. That should be a proper solidification of exactly where everything is going to go. Because as of right now, everyone's just kind of throwing out numbers and has a huge amount of expectations. But, you know, that's the current market that we are in. That's the Willy Woo talking about a 710,000, 1.1 million, and an $11 million Bitcoin. And yeah. Let's move on. Also in news as well, according to research by the ETC group, Ethereum's native currency, Ether, could outperform Bitcoin in 2024. This is like the 18th time that we've heard this, and it is quite common because we will continuously hear about this over the course of this year. We heard about it in the last couple of months of 2023. It's more so the expectation of previous market cycles. We have continuously seen before that if Bitcoin does a double, triple, quadruple, 5x's in price, Ethereum tends to do a 16, 17, 18% rise in price. A lot of people, funnily a word? Funny enough, a lot of people have given a very large amount of Bitcoin price predictions, but the amount of Ethereum price predictions has been very few. We had that really weird one from, what's this guy's name? From BitMEX, Arthur Hayes, who said he said he expects Ethereum to go to $5,000. And I was like, I won't even give you a golf clap because Ethereum's all-time high was 4,800. I'm almost certain, hear me out here, that it's going to go above another $200. Just logically speaking. We had a couple 10,000, we had a couple 12,000, and I think we saw one, the weirdest one, I think was 22,000. That was from that person on Twitter maybe like a month and a half ago, who said according to his estimates, prices are being held down. They need to go a lot higher. I think he said Ethereum's fair value was 7,000 or 8,000, and he was expecting over the course of the bull run for it to hit $22,000 per coin. And I was like, sure, why not? I think a lot of people would not be upset at that, but the idea of outperforming, outshining, and even passing by Bitcoin, you are going to hear about it a lot this year because of the price movements of Ether comparative to Bitcoin. Are we going to see a flippening this year? Question mark. Will there ever be a flippening? Gigantic question mark. I personally do not think we are going to live in a world where Ethereum becomes the number one coin. There would need to be something fundamentally wrong with Bitcoin for that to happen. And also even more so, if something was wrong with Bitcoin and began to collapse, Ethereum would also collapse right along with it. So I think Ethereum will have a great year price-wise, as many other altcoins will also have, and probably even also outperform Bitcoin mathematically, but I do not foresee Ethereum becoming the number one coin. There is a really big upgrade that's coming. I believe the last news that we had was at the end of January. End of January, there's going to be some kind of like a test net of a test net that's going to be taking place. And I think we heard the beginning of February is when the upgrade should be taking place. I assume they'll push it back to around April, as the Ethereum team typically does. They say it's for security, and at this point, I believe them. The Ethereum project is so large that you can't really risk dropping a gigantic upgrade on the coin, on the project that could, destroy the entire thing. So they'll probably, I believe, we'll see, wait until around April to launch it, maybe late March as we get closer to the halving, because that'll do wonders for the price, especially every time that we get an Ethereum upgrade during a bull run. The price tends to really, really, really push up a lot higher. Yeah, that's the ETC group. Believes Ether could outperform Bitcoin this year. It is probably mathematically going to, but will it become the number one coin? Probably not. That's the Ether news. Moving along. In also popular news, the meme-based coin known as Shiba Inu has apparently, this is a little bit different, has apparently been withdrawn from a lot of exchanges. Apparently around 8 trillion, you heard that correctly, trillion with a T, 8 trillion Shiba Inu tokens, it says with an estimated value of $88 million, were moved out of crypto exchanges since around the end of November. This event marks a significant shift in token distribution and could signal changes in investor behavior towards Shiba Inu as well. We normally get a lot of Shiba Inu burned news, and this company did this and they're doing that, and there's also, once again, also a record label who's also burning Shiba Inu. Sure, why not? Live your best life. But I don't think we've ever gotten Shiba Inu taken off of exchange news. The significance is that typically during a bull run, we see that a lot of Bitcoin gets taken off of exchanges. Same exact thing with Ether. And if you take these coins off of exchanges and there's not a lot left for people who may be interested in buying them, therefore the supply is low, the price goes a lot higher, yada, yada. There was a discussion, I know it's them and 2 other coins have recently had like a really big discussion about burning literally 50% of their coins all at once. I'm pretty sure it was Shiba Inu. They were also asking the same exact thing of Cardano and many other projects. But the problem is that you, a holder, would also have to burn your coins as well. A lot of people assume that it's simply going to be the foundation or the creators who are burning their coins in a solidarity moment to rise the price for everyone else. And that's not at all what's going to happen. So yeah, 8 trillion tokens were taken off of crypto exchanges since sometime around November. We will probably be getting more news about that. And there's also going to be a lot more Shiba Inu burn news. What were the other coins? It was Terra Luna Plasma, but there's 2 other ones that were recently also in the news. It wasn't Lumens. That was like a year and a half ago. I don't remember what it was, but always popular. I mean, I'm here for it. I want to see Shiba Inu hit 1 cent, so these people can become insanely wealthy from having burned this coin and only been talking about it over the course of the last 2 years. Yeah, I think that is going to do it for this video. I sincerely hope that you've all enjoyed. I sincerely hope that you are still all doing your research as much as possible and learn about property, learn about stuff in your area, learn about stuff in other places. Don't forget, you can also buy in other places. You are not restricted to where you live, your town, your country at all. Get in contact with people. A lot of times people, I think, are fearful, maybe intimidated in some sort of way of actually contacting real estate agents or brokers or other companies in other countries or other states or other towns or other provinces. No, they're there for that. They want to answer your questions because at the end, if you end up making a deal with them, this is how they make their money. So If you have questions about stuff, contact these people. I get it. I always form like a bit of a digital relationship with them. I send some emails back and forth. We talk about stuff and I say, okay, if in the future I need your help, I will definitely contact you. You've been very nice. And then when I need their help, I contact them. And we already have a relationship. They know what I want. They know what I'm looking for. That's how it works. Yeah. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and or supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See